Hey guys, Josh here with Josh and Hunter's Adventures, and welcome back to another episode. Today's video, we're going to be going over mono versus braid on a spinning reel. We're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison on the two and going over some of the features of each one. We're also going to be casting them and to see which one maybe has, a little better casting distance over the other. We're going to be throwing them both on 7-foot medium rods with the same reel and the same lure. It's going to be a little small Ned rig on both of them. So we're going to just do a comparison on the two. We're going to talk about them just a little bit and some of the features maybe one have over the other. So let's get straight into it, guys, and let's see what we come up with. All right, guys, so the first thing that we're going to be going over with on the mono and the braid is the stretch. Basically, mono has stretch in it and the braid doesn't have any. I mean, there's no stretch at all on braid. So basically, monofilament is almost like a shock absorber. So basically, it stretches when there is tension on it or weight on it, and then when you let it go, it releases back. Like I said, braid is designed more for, no give at all. When you set the hook, there is no movement in the line. It doesn't stretch at all. And there are benefits to both of those. For instance, on the stretch part, if you were throwing like a little small, say, Rapala Shad Rap, you would probably want to throw that on monofilament. That way there would be just a little bit of give. But let's say you were throwing like a bottom bait, like a Ned rig or something, you'd probably want to throw a braid to a fluorocarbon. That way you have a good, hook set. You don't want to jerk it out of their mouth by no means, but what I'm saying is you don't want any give there. All right, guys, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is memory. You're going to see a lot more memory on, say, monofilament over the braid. If you ever cast it out on a spinning reel and you've seen it almost like coil, that's the memory that you're seeing from it being on the spool for a long periods of time. Braid, you can probably get by with using this same spool right here for a year. It doesn't retain memory hardly at all. Where monofilament, over time, you're going to have to replace it, or it's going to just, coil off there so bad that it's just, you're not going to get very good casting distance. And that's one of the other key things is you don't have any memory. So with braid, it doesn't coil, it just comes straight off the spool and you get a little bit better casting distance. So that would be one of the benefits that I could see using braid over the monofilament. Is the memory retention that monofilament has where braid doesn't have any. All right, one of the other things I want to go over with you guys about is, the floating aspect of the two. Monofilament is going to be more buoyant, I guess you could say, over the braid. Over time, like if you threw the line out in the water, the braid is probably going to absorb water just a little bit faster than, say, monofilament over time. That's why a lot of people use monofilament for topwater applications, and there's a lot of people that use it for braid also, but monofilament tends to float better than, say, braid does. Again, both of them are going to sink over time. I mean, that's just a given. Once they absorb water, they are going to sink. But monofilament, I see it floating better than, say, braid, like I said, just because of it absorbing into the fibers and then slowly starting to sink. So that might be a key feature that you guys need to look into if you're choosing one over the other. Okay, one of the other things that I want to go over with you guys about is visibility. Obviously, you can see the two there. The braid is yellow. The monofilament is basically one strand of a nylon material, so it makes it, somewhat invisible in the water. Nothing like what fluorocarbon would be, but you can see that the two, there is a difference for sure. Again, with braid, you are going to want to use a fluorocarbon leader. That's what I would recommend. Then you're going to have, say, a 6-foot leader, so that you're really not going to have any visibility issues at all. You would not want to tie straight on with a high vis braid to your lure because the fish are going to see that right off the bat. But yeah, that's something that I wanted to discuss about, is the visibility of the two in comparison there. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is tying knots with monofilament versus braid. The weakest link in any of the rigs is going to be your knot. If you don't have a good, firm, good knot to tie, you're going to break off and lose fish. Monofilament seems like it bites really good with most knots that you tie. It seems like it cinches down really well. Where braid, on the other hand, it has a more slippery coating on it that just seems like if you don't tie a really good knot on it, it's just going to slip, and you're going to lose fish, or you're going to break off easier. But that's why I always tie like I said, an all-bright knot when I'm tying my leader on. And again, if you haven't looked that up, be sure to go check out that knot. I highly recommend to tie that knot when you're attaching braid to fluorocarbon. But that's just one of the other things I want to go over about. All right, so the next thing I want to go over with you guys about is the abrasion resistance of the two. Obviously, monofilament is going to be a little bit easier to get some nicks in it, dents, cuts, whatever it may be, over, say, the braid. You're talking about the woven fibers here. It's pretty durable stuff compared to, say, the monofilament. So you are going to want to keep a closer eye on your monofilament. Your braid is going to take a little bit more abuse, I guess you could say, over, say, the mono. But again, there are each one have their own advantages over the other. So don't think that one is better than the other. Like I said, each application that you're fishing with is going to be dependent on which one that you're going to use. All right, I'm going to go over one other feature with you guys before we go into casting these two out to see how we do as far as casting distance, is the sensitivity. Braid is a lot more sensitive than, say, monofilament. Again, I would use braid to a fluorocarbon leader if you are going to use any bottom baits at all over the monofilament. Monofilament, I feel, is more for a moving style bait or a crankbait, not a bottom bait. Sensitivity on braid is just unreal. If you've never used it, you need to give it a shot and see, because you can really feel a lot on the braid over, say, the monofilament. But let's go ahead and cast them and see how we do in comparison. Again, it's both the same action rods, same reel, and same lure with the same weight. So let's go ahead and give it a try and see how we do. Okay, the first one is going to be the braid combo here, and I'm just going to cast it again. Same lure for each one. I'm going to go ahead and make another cast with it. All right, now I'm going to make a couple casts with the monofilament. It's actually probably about the same distance. Make one more. I think I actually got a little more distance with that one. All right, guys, again, so this is just a comparison video on mono versus the braid. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. Let me know which one you guys prefer, one over the other, or which application you use mono for and which one you use braid for. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe you learned something from it, and you can take it out in your next outing and catch some fish and have a good time out on the water. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell. That way you know when we put out videos. Till next time, guys, this is Josh with Josh and Hunter's Adventures, and we'll see you next time.